So guys, in this induction session, I really wanted to be very interactive. Trust me, and I always wanted to discuss with my students. We always wanted to have your feedback, suggestions, and I thought that okay, it's always good to be interactive and kind of innovative, right? So what I did from the last couple of hours, I created a story for us, a story of Bob and Annie. There are two, what do you say, two imaginations. You can call them anything you like. But yeah, I like the name Bob and Annie. So this is a story of Bob and Annie who are willing to go into the electric vehicle domain and they are confused. They have many questions, they have many doubts, and they want to see how they can upskill themselves. But before we start with this story, it is important to understand about Bob and Annie. And you can see Bob is very happy. He's waving at all of us. So Annie is a smart working lady, guys. She already has some industrial experience, and now she wants to go to the EV sector because she's intelligent. She knows that all the automotive industries are transforming in the electric sector, and recently, European Union banned the production of conventional engine cars from the year 2035, and India is doing its bit, and everyone is trying to go into the electric vehicle sector. We all know that EV is the future of automotive industry, right? And that is why Annie feels like that she should be into this EV sector, and she's having some year of experience, just like you guys. Maybe some of you are already working in the industries, and now you also want to go into this EV field. And then comes the Bob, who is always excited. He's a young, excited guy who has just finished his studies or is about to finish, maybe in the final semester or something. And his bachelor's is in the domain of mechanical oriented. But Annie is working into the electrical sector. Okay, so they are completely different domains. It's important for the story. And Bob is really excited to start a job. He wants to get a job into the EV sector, but the problem is that he's hardworking, but his skill sets are not really aligned within the industries. I think all of us have that problem when we were or we are doing our bachelor's, right? So this is a very common problem for Bob also. He wants to do something in EV, but he is completely unaware. So we have two different candidates, but they are good friends and they have come together to the DIYguru office. And now they have many questions, just like you guys. They have hundreds of questions. Sorry, the date in the presentation is not new because I took an old template. Nevertheless, so they have many questions, just like you. And in this story, I want you guys to go with me through their each and every question in this face-to-face session. And this guy, I really don't know, but he's someone from the DIY group. So maybe Avinash, the CEO itself, but I don't know. It could be me also because I also wear glasses. So let's call him Sir. Okay. And now we start the face-to-face discussion of Annie and Bob with Sir from DIY group. And let's see what questions they have and how he can really solve, if he's a good guy or not. So the very first question which Bob likes to ask is, what is this EV Nanodegree program? I mean, is this really useful or is it just some level of stupid, what you say, experimental stuff going on? And but is it really something which will benefit me? How many courses is DIY Guru actually offering as a part of this Nanodegree program? And what is the due duration? And most importantly, since Bob is not financially independent as of now, he always likes to have some scholarships, right? So he's also want to ask about the scholarship opportunities. And this, in my voice, is now answering to this question. So guys, EV Nano Degree is basically a way to provide you the necessary expertise, the necessary understanding, engagement, maturity, and technicalities for you to go into the electric vehicle sector. And if you think that electric vehicle is the future of the industries in the coming years, in the coming months, then yes, EV Nano Degree program is really useful and beneficial for all of us. The problem is that at the education level, at the academic level, we have mechanical courses, we have electrical courses, and mechanical students have some softwares in SolidWorks, electrical students have some software learning in MATLAB. But are these learnings and all these stuff really aligned with the industry requirements is the main problem. And electric vehicle is basically an interdisciplinary domain. We all know this, right? When I say interdisciplinary, then I mean that it comprises of the mechanical, electrical, automotive, computational, and everything together. So you cannot really be an expert in EV, guys, until unless you have that dedicated learning path in EV. You can't really be an expert, because if you are very good with mechanical, you have to be weak with electrical and vice versa. So yes, this is what EV Nano Degree is all about. EV Nano Degree is a way by which you can basically design your learning path for the next coming many months, so that you can go into the EV industries or into the EV research domain and can work accordingly. And when Bob asked this question, how many courses are you offering? The sir from DIYguru laughed a bit, because DIYguru is offering more than 18 courses as a part of this nano degree program. And it's a very important question to ask, that 18 courses are not even in a PG diploma program. Then why DIYguru is offering 18 courses? I mean, is this some kind of social work we are going, some philanthropical activities? It's nothing like that. The reason why DIYguru is offering so many courses is because we understand that for being an EV expert, we can't just teach you core electrical, core mechanical. We have to make you a good professional in the end. And for this, it is very important that we cover different aspects. I'll come to this part later on, because I'm sure Bob and Annie will ask more questions about this, about the courses we are offering. So we will cover this in the later stages. And when you say what is the course duration, then to be honest, I do not like this question, guys. What is the course duration? I did my higher studies in from Europe, in Germany basically, and my master's program was originally for two years. But what they did in Germany is they extended the master program for 3 years, for 3.5 years, and in fact, for some of my colleagues, some of my study mates, they extended the program for 4 years. And the reason is because Europe never wants to commercialize the education sector. And they always feel like that if the student needs one more year to complete his or her higher education, we should give him the opportunity. We should give him the support. In the same way, the nano degree program is originally for 6 months, but there is so many things you would be doing into the EV sector as a part of the program, that if you take more than 6 months, 8 months, 10 months, 12 months, DIYguru will never ask for your subscription. DIYguru will always provide you an extended duration, claiming that yes, you are a learning person, you are hardworking, you got some things in between, now you want some more time, so go through it. Learn, and learn with us. That's the whole motive. So when you ask about the course duration, that is something not at all relevant for me and DIYguru at least. Okay, and then Annie, since she's from the industry sector, she's always looking forward towards the validations. And she asked that affiliations are important, right? So do we have any? And I'm sure you must have gone through the websites, and so does Annie. And she says that the site of DIYguru is claiming that we are affiliated with AICT and our collaboration is with ASTC. And she also wants to know if the certifications which you will get as a part of Nano Degree program are also ASDC approved. And the answer to all three questions, guys, is a big yes. Yes, we are affiliated with the Ministry of Education, NEAT, and the AICTE department. We are collaborated with the ASDC, and all your certifications as a part of Nano Degree program are ASDC approved. And since ASDC is a government body, your certification program will have the government validation as well. And this is something which really makes me proud and makes me happy, that if we are teaching our students something, then the government and the organizations are basically validating that training, right? And if the government validates your training, if the organizations like ASGC and AICT validates your training, then it really means that we are doing something useful and worthwhile, right? Otherwise, everyone in the world would be going with this certification, with these affiliations. But the DIYguru is the only organization. And this clearly shows that all the content which will be delivered and which is being delivered at this moment to our students is all validated, authenticated, and well verified by ASTC. And that is why they accepted the collaboration, right? It's not just that you give money and they give the collaboration. There's a huge process of validation, just like your university might have got affiliation from so-and-so organization. Okay, please bear with me, guys, because I think there would be several questions. Okay, the next question Bob asked is that he is very weak in electrical. And if you're weak in electrical and you want to do electric vehicle, don't you think it would be a bit difficult? Well, it could be, at least it sounds so. Since Bob is weak with electrical. He's a bit nervous because he wants to start a job, and he's a bit confused and nervous that will he start from the fundamentals? And if we start from fundamentals, then how far will we be going? Will we stop at the fundamentals only? Or we will be covering the intermediate? Or will we be going to the advanced section also? And what after the advanced? Is there any fourth layer after basic, intermediate, advanced? What is the hierarchy and layer structure of this nanodegree program? Is basically Bob wanted to know. Anyone also want to know that is there any necessity to do any other course after this whole program? Maybe so somebody will say that, okay, Bob, you're good with the battery part, but you're not good with power electronics. You have to learn power electronics. Will that be the case? Or is the EV program from DIYguru is completely what he requires and nothing else? And just like the previous question, guys, the answer to this question is also a big yes. We will start from very fundamental. Trust me, I'm from the domain of experimental physics. Experimental physics and electric vehicle doesn't match much, right? But my bachelor's is into electronics and communication. My experience before has been into robotics. And therefore, we clearly understand, and I think our CEO Avinash is from the mechanical background. And this clearly shows, guys, that the interdisciplinary environment within the EV sector requires you to start with fundamentals even if you have some experience. If you are a very good expert into electrical, we have to start with the fundamentals into the mechanical side, right? And therefore things will be starting from very, very basics, like completely from scratch. What is Ohm's law? What is electric vehicle? What is the future of EV industries? And from there we will be going till the very end of developing our own EV model. And this will be the range we will be covering. This will be the huge set of what you say, the diversity we will be having. So yes, we will start from fundamentals, and absolutely not, you would not need any other course, whether you want to go into the answers or SolidWorks or CATIA or MATLAB or Python or analysis or data science or practical or manufacturing or system engineering or testing, or you want to go into the power electronics, you would not require any other course. And this is basically the level of hierarchy and the multi-layer structure of the program. And that is why, if I go back to the previous set of questions, I said that yes, we will be offering you more than 18 courses. And that is the reason, because we want to ensure that you do not require any other course after the CV program. And then Annie has a very good point. She says that, yes, Bob, that's a good question. She's fine with electrical, but her advanced electrical is not so strong. So as you can see, Bob wants to start from fundamental, but Annie wants to go into the advanced sections. And that is the beauty of electric vehicle. And that is the diversity of the Indian or any set of students throughout the globe. So she says that I'm fine with my electrical basics, but I'm not good with my electrical advanced sections, and my mechanical is also weak. And she really wants to understand how are we managing the electrical and the mechanical domains. How can we manage both the domains at the same time, ensuring that doesn't matter you are from EV, the electrical or mechanical or IT or computers or civil, how can we ensure that by the end of the program you're good with everything, everything as in you're good with both electrical and the mechanical side. Yeah, hi Ganesh. Maybe by the end of the presentation, we can take your questions. Okay. But hi, hello. Thank you for your message. So, yeah, but this is a very good question, guys. How is this really possible, or how can someone ensure that we are maintaining both mechanical and electrical side? This is a very important question which you should always ask the other person. If you are focusing on the electrical side, what about the mechanical? And vice versa. So it is very important, guys, to ensure that whenever we have training with the EV sector, in the EV domain, whenever we have a training, then we need to combine the mechanical and electrical fundamentals and gradually go out in a way that you have expertise in the mechanical domain, which includes vehicle dynamics, which includes the aerodynamics, which includes the framework designing, which includes the simulation part, which includes the thermal vibrational studies, which includes the nanoscale deformations. At the same time, you're working with the electrical side, which includes the power electronics, which has the MATLAB based simulation, which has the EV modeling, which has the battery pack, battery management, battery calculation, battery collection, selection. And then in the end, how you can combine these two diversifying topics into one to really correlate every part and say, yes, I started off together, EV and electrical and mechanical fundamentals. Then I learned them as two separate entities, and during the end of my program, I combined them back into one full EV domain. And I'll tell you how the practical workshops will enable us to combine them at the end. But yes, this is very important for me, for us, and for you guys to make sure that we are good with both mechanical and electrical if you really want to be into it, EV expert. And then, well, every student has this doubt. I'm good with theoretical. I've scored 80% in my bachelor's. I'm still not having a job because I don't have industrial skills. I got 87% in my bachelor's. I got the so-called medal and stuff from my university when I did my bachelor's. But these are two different things. Your industrial skills is one aspect, and your theoretical knowledge is other aspect. And if someone is teaching you the electric vehicle segment, that person, that organization must ensure that you are given necessary practical and industrial expertise as well. And this is what the Bob is asking, that how do you ensure that the student is good in mechanical and electrical in terms of industrial requirements, not in terms of technical or theoretical. Now we are talking about industrial requirements. And when I talk about industrial requirement, what exactly is industrial requirement when we talk about EV? It's also a very good question. What is basically the industry requirements are? Because I have seen this is very common in India right now, that just for the sake of making things easier, the students and the instructors are shifting from EV to automotive. And trust me, we don't want this. The EV sector is quite complex in its own. It is quite heavy and intensive. And it is always convenient for you to go into the automotive and embedded and say that, okay, I've done automotive embedded and a bit of EV. That's not how things should work. If you are working with EV, you have to focus on the EV side. If you want to take skill sets, you have to ensure that you have skill sets related to EV only, not just some random skill sets, right? And this is something which is very important. Which software do we work on? And when I say MATLAB, guys, I use my MATLAB in my physics. I'm doing X-ray physics analysis. I'm using MATLAB. You are doing civil service analysis, civil engineering analysis. You're also doing MATLAB. So when we say MATLAB, this is not the good answer. What exactly in MATLAB are we going to do? That is something which is more important, right? So when I talk about MATLAB, I mean, how do we do the battery modeling? How do we do the EV modeling? How do we develop and work on the designing and simulation of converters on the on the converters level? How do we develop the full powertrain, which is the most somewhat one of the most advanced topics in the whole of electrical EV line? That if you are able to develop the full powertrain, then you are good with the full MATLAB and the full EV. So it's like the EV powertrain is basically the master's thesis project. If you're good with EV powertrain, you are good with the electrical part. Every company, every industry will basically understand this, right? So when we talk about the MATLAB side, we have to focus on the EV-oriented MATLAB. And then comes the mechanical software, which is the SolidWorks, where we do the 2D, 3D designing. Then we come to the ANSYS, where we do the simulations in terms of the thermal analysis, in terms of the transient analysis, in terms of the finite element analysis. I'm not an instructor in the EV side, so this would be a good question how deep we will be going. But yes, we will be focusing on this finite element analysis and the deformation study from ANSYS, and the designing and framing from SolidWorks, and the development and simulation from the MATLAB. And then some part of Altair software, some part of CATIA, that will always go on and off. But yes, these are the primary softwares, and you should be really good when you say, I want to be an AV expert. And what if you're not good with these softwares? I mean, it's not necessary that you all are good with MATLAB. It's not necessary you are all are good with ANSYS. So this is also something which is very important. And this is something which is basically covered in the very first question that we will be starting from fundamentals. So as you join the whole program, you will be given the softwares and all, and you will be starting with, okay, how do I open my software? First, teach me this, and then I move into the advanced part. So yes, when we talk about the software also, that is also quite extensive because we start, or everyone must start from the fundamental and the basic side. But a very good question by Bob. And then Annie says, okay, enough of the talking. Show me something concrete, something useful. Show me the curriculum of Nanodegree. What are you really teaching in Nanodegree? What topics, what modules you are teaching in Nanodegree? And that is the time when the sir from DIYguru opens the document and present it to the student, just like I'm going to present. So guys, this 48-page document basically explains what all DIYguru is going to teach and is going to cover as a part of this Nanodegree program. When it comes to the BMS side, when it comes to the powertrain side, when it comes to these soft skills, when it comes to the placement activities, when it comes to the workshops, retrofitting, and when it comes to the other domains of powertrain and stuff. And as I said, everything will start from fundamentals. As we said, the fundamentals of electrical, all of EV, what exactly EV is, this is a very good question. 90% of the people still don't know what EV is. And then we move on to the motor side, onto the design phase side, onto the battery side, converter, controller. How do we do the interfacing with the controllers? How do we do all this programming and simulation? And then we move on to the mechanical fundamentals, just like the Bob asked, right? If you remember, that do we really start from the fundamental? Yes, this is the answer to his question. And then we'll be starting from the fundamental of vehicle dynamics, which is very, very important part of any EV model in terms of the mechanical side, the suspension system, the geometries, and then we move on to the intermediate side, guys. The intermediate would be to understand the EV components. So basically, what all component do we have into the EV model, into an EV car? How do we do the power calculation? If I give you one assignment that guys develop an EV model with for me on the technical side, don't just go into a workshop and start welding. That is not EV designing. EV designing is that I give you the model that I want this performance parameter, guys, not design this for me. Now, what would be the load analysis? What would be the aerodynamics concept? How will you frame the whole body? And most importantly, how will you develop the battery for that? How do you do the calculation for that? How do you consider the power electronics for that? And in the end, how do you model and simulate in the MATLAB, SolidWorks analysis using all these parameters? This is something what EV designing is, right? This is something which we all must be good with if you really want to be called EV expert. That I call you, I say, I go to the recruiter and I say that this student can develop and model and simulate one full EV model on his own right here, right now, based on your requirements. And this is the level of confidence we need to build. And that is why we need to go step by step, go into the power convergence. And we again cover the topic of motor control. First, on the basic side, right? When we covered the fundamentals, but now more on the controller side, more on the MATLAB side. And as I said, we will be starting with the MATLAB. We will not just go and open the Simulink and I say, okay, do this and this, add this, okay, and copy this, and you got the answer. Absolutely not. We have to go from very step by step, guys. Anything we miss, and you'll be left behind. That is the whole story. And once we are good once we have started working with the MATLAB, we are fine with the batteries and stuff. Then we move on to the SolidWorks. That how do we design the framework, the 2D, 3D, and then we can go deep and deep. I can share all this document with you. How do we do the 1D, 2D, 3D analysis? Well, for now, 3D analysis is enough for any vehicle, anybody within the world. Maybe outside that world, if we go, we can get about 5 dimensions. But yeah, for now, 3D should be enough. And then we move on to the battery management, guys. I mean, if you consider the Asiatic market, if you consider the Europe, African, any market you consider, guys, the game is really on the battery side. How good your battery is. I mean, some companies can make very good batteries, but if it can catch fire very easily, what is the use of it if you're not able to work on the safety instruction, on the safety regulations? And when we talk about the battery management, what exactly are we going to do with batteries? How do you manage them? How do you connect? How do you balance? How to do interfacing? How to protect them? And how do you basically model your whole battery, your whole cell, your calculation and powertrain in MATLAB? This is something very important. And when we are covered with the core courses, then we move on to the next set of courses, guys, which is basically the battery pack modeling. Now you're good with the battery side, the cell calculation and stuff. Now we move on to the battery pack. How do we design the battery pack? How do we manufacture the battery pack? How do we work on the heat transfer, the thermal, which is very important. One of our projects is basically on the thermal side only. And so on we go on, we go. And finally, we work with the whole design of EV model. And this is what we will be covering, right? So this is what Sir from DIYguru showed to Bob and Annie, and to explain that, okay, this is what we will be doing as a part of curriculum. But Annie has a very good point, guys. And trust me, none of you have thought of this point. I'm sure none of you have thought of this point. What about the EV managerial aspect? You want to go into the EV industry, but you do not have EV R&D experience. As student, as students, we always think that R&D is all technical. This is completely wrong. R&D is not pure technical, guys. R&D is a combination of research and development. We always think about the development. What about the research aspect? And when we talk about the research, we talk about the EV managerial, EV product design, product development, and product launch side. And this is a very good question by Annie, because she's a working lady. She knows the importance of it in the industry. She want to ask and understand what about the non-technical aspects. And absolutely, there will be proper classes and proper modules which will be covering the EV on the managerial side. When we talk about the managerial side, I want to share in within the country what are the government policies. How do you really open your, for example, you come to me, you say, Ayush, okay, I've done all of my EV research. I want to open a business in EV. I want to open a charging station. Now what? Now you are an EV expert, but you don't know how to open a charging station. Then what is the use of being an EV expert? And we do not want this half knowledge, right? That is why it is important that we cover these aspects also. The aspect of EV and business. And what exactly is this interface between the EV as a technology and EV as a sector, as an industry, right? And then we come to the generic industrial requirement, guys, which is the ability to do analysis. And this is something we introduced very recently for you guys, absolutely for you guys, because we realized that no one in India is currently paying attention to this. And this is something we all have been doing for a long time now, and that is EV with the data analytics. So what we thought is we approached many recruiters across the country, and then we asked, okay, what do you want from the student who is good with the EV? And many recruiters also said that that student should be having good problem solving skills. And I'm sure in all your CV, you must have written good problem solver as soft skill. But are you guys really a good problem solver? How do you know you're a good problem solver? Forget EV, forget engine, forget IC, forget automotive. In general, how do you know you're a good problem solver? How do you convince the recruiter? How do you convince yourself, first of all, that you're a good problem solver? And to convince yourself, the most important thing is that you are able to solve problems on the real time basis. And within this hierarchy of this whole globe, the best way to show your problem solving skills is the ability to do data analysis. And that is why with this whole EV Nanodegree program, we will be having proper sessions on the data analytics course where we will be working on the industrial data sets of EV, guys, not some random Netflix data set that is useless. We will be covering some EV specific data sets, and then you apply your technical knowledge with your programming skills to perform analysis on that, to perform analysis on the EV sector related data set. Just give me 1 second, guys. I think I have a class right now. I have to inform these students. Vinay, just give me 1 minute. I have to check regarding
Sure,
my
sure.
upcoming class. Yes. The class will start in 30 minutes, so I still have time. Okay. Okay, but then we have another good question, guys. And the good question is, how can you be a data analyst if you're not even a programmer, right? And therefore, it is very important that before going to the data analysis, we have to cover your Python programming skills. I mean, we can cover C or C++ or R also, but we don't want to be computer programmers here. We want something worthy enough that we can say that, see, I am good with Python. I have utilized this Python knowledge to be good in data analysis. And I've utilized this data analysis knowledge to be good into the EV analysis and of the EV oriented data sets. Try to understand the timeline, guys. This is something very important. You cannot just be good problem solver in EV if you're not a good data analyst. This is something making a fool of yourself that I'm a good problem solver. It doesn't make any sense. How do you convince the recruiter? How do you convince yourself that you're a problem solver? Because you have to be good with and analytical skills. And therefore, we'll be starting with the very basics of Python, with Python intermediate, Python data structures, advanced, web scraping, regular expression, stuff for all this. And then we will go into the data analysis because we cannot directly go to the data analytics, right? This will make no sense because I understand if you're very good with mechanical, you can be equally bad with programming. So I understand that we have to start with Python and then we go into the data analytics, intermediate and visualization part, where in the end, we will be trying to develop a full Eevee dashboard that yes, my dashboard takes the data from the leading, let's say Tesla company, and it is retrieving the all models, the parameters, the performance and stuff like this. And then I do the calculation on the parameters on the from the specification sheet, and then I show that this is the performance sheet of this car according to my knowledge. And then you can say that yes, I'm a good problem solver and I'm really targeting the non-technical as well as computational as well as technical requirements from the industries. And this is how the sir from DIYguru answered Annie's question. I'll be quite a bit fast now, guys, because I have just half an hour more. Okay, and this is a very important question, guys. Very important. All the courses you are getting by now in most of the scenario is basically online courses, right? Yes, everything is gone online. People now want to work on the work from home basis, and they are okay with it. But what? Yes, absolutely. You will get this information as a PDF format. Yes, sure. You will also get the recording of this session, so it should be even more better, convenient. Yes, and now the Bob is saying that I don't want to be into an online course completely. Online course is not good for me. There are many students who say that I can only understand things when the instructor teaches me on live basis. Is there something which we are doing for this aspect? Absolutely. And that is why sir from DIYguru is so happy because he's ready with the answer. And to show guys that we are not only providing the 18 online courses, but we are also providing the live classes. I will be showing the current weekly schedule, which I have prepared for we have prepared for our student this week. This is the current live schedule for the students who have enrolled in the Nanodegree program for the past few months. And if every week we have a different schedule. For instance, this week we had Eevee workshop on 18th of July from 11, not PM, this should be AM, right? From 11 AM to 4 PM onward on Monday. Then Wednesday we had class on Eevee motors. Then Wednesday after half an hour we had class on MATLAB for Eevee. Then we had a live doubt class. Then again we have Eevee motors class on Saturday, that is today, and then MATLAB for Eevee. And just now, just before your class, your induction session started, we had the Eevee R&D class. And this is the R&D class which I was talking about, guys. This thing, the managerial aspect. And this R&D class is basically the managerial class what I'm talking about, right? So that is how we are trying to cover different aspects into small pieces. And the Python and data analytics class is taken by me, which is supposed to be starting at 7. That is why I said that we have a class in half an hour. And then tomorrow again, we have Eevee R&D class. And lastly, we have Eevee mechanical on the aerodynamics and vehicle dynamics. And for this week itself, we have about 20 to 25 hours of content, right? And this chart is just to explain all the lectures. Okay, this is a very good question, Satyam. I think Bob or Annie will ask your question. Just wait for the next slide and I will answer your questions. I understand. Yes, Abhay. I'm exactly going to answer this question in the next slide. But yes, for now, I just wanted to say that you have those 18, 19 courses in your DIY portal. They are all there. They will be there for you throughout the whole Nanodegree program. But other than this, as secondary add-ons, I'm talking about, we are providing the live classes. And if you are not in Delhi, then absolutely you can attend these live classes as a part of your Nanodegree program from your home also, right? And now this is something guys done only to ensure, because Eevee is such a dynamic course, right? Like 4 months ago, the technology in Eevee was something different. Now the technology in Eevee might be evolving, right? Everything is so much evolving in the Eevee sector that we have to make improvisation at every stage. And that is why we introduce these live classes, so that we can say that yes, whatever is going on at the industry level, we cover that part without any issues. Okay, so this covered the questions from Bob, because he also wanted to know how often. So as you have seen, at least 3 or 4 times a week we have these classes. And now Annie asked a very good question. Annie said that Bob is lucky he has time for the live classes, but what if I misses my classes because of my job? I think two of you just asked this question, right? And will Annie miss all the classes just like that? And if Annie is available on weekends, can she have a live doubt class with the instructor on events? And she doesn't really want to miss the classes. No one wants to miss the classes, right? And that is why, guys, whenever there is a live class, whenever there is any live session conducted at any stage throughout the Nanodegree program, you get the recording at the same time in the next few hours so that you're not missing any classroom session. And this is something, this is the web page. Yes, this is the web page basically where all the classroom recordings have been uploaded on regular basis. This is something other than the 18 courses, guys. I'm repeating because students might get confused because there is so much to do in the Nanodegree program. You have the 19 courses with you. Other than this, these are the live classes. So if you're not able to attend the live classes, you can always go to the classes which has been conducted recently and you can attend them. And in the coming weekend, when there is a doubt class, you can ask the instructor and discuss with them. And these are something very recent, guys. I've also added the dates just to make sure everything is very clear. So you can see the last Eevee doubt class we had on 21st of July. This is exactly as per the schedule, right? 21st of July, we had a MATLAB for Eevee class on 20th and 21st. So the last Eevee class we had on 20th of July, and then we had an Eevee doubt class on 21st. And then I added the project one because the last month batch has started with their technical projects on MATLAB. And right now they are working on the buck and boost converter. So this is basically a live class, guys, which many students were not able to attend because of their job and because of their, what you say, ongoing activities and commitments. But whenever there is a live class, you always get the recording for that well formatted so that I can ensure that our students do not miss anything, even if they're working somewhere. And that is the answer to the Annie's question and the question to you both guys, that yes, this is how we ensure that you're not missing any classes. Okay. And then just few more questions left, guys. The technical projects. So as a part of the technical projects, guys, there will be approximately 20 to 25 projects you will be working. 12 projects you will be working with MATLAB. Yeah, well, so it looks like we are talking the same thing, right? We have the same question at the same time, which is really good. So there are two type of project, guys. One project is the static project. Okay, the static project means just like this. Let me show you. For example, this is a type of a very basic static project. The buck and boost converter of buck and boost converter designing using MATLAB. And just like this project, you'll be working on 12 more MATLAB-based projects, starting from this very basic boost converter till the whole powertrain and EV modeling. So 12 projects from MATLAB, 4 to 5 projects from ANSYS, 3 to 4 projects from SolidWorks, 3 projects from Python and Eevee, and 3 projects from data analytics with Eevee. In total, about 25 to 28 projects you will be working on. But there is another type of project, guys, which is very important. And I think Annie has also asked the same question because she says, don't forget the importance of live projects. Are we doing anything for this? Yes, we are doing. Because when you work with the Nanodegree program, you have two types of project, as I said. One is the static, these 25, 28. And second is the live project, guys. And when I say live project, what I mean is that when you have completed your 3 to 4 courses of the fundamentals and you are ready for the live projects, then the DIYguru technical team will basically contact you, will get in touch with you, and then they will assign you some live project ideas. For example, right now the team is assigning these 8 projects, and they are saying you can work on any of this project at one time. When you're completed with that, you can go on to the second project. And when you select the live project class, guys, when you select the live project, then you will be assigned a mentor. I don't know if you can see here. Then you will be assigned a mentor from the DIYguru. This is a whole flowchart. I can give you this document which shows what is going on. And this mentor will be assigned to you, and this mentor will basically supervise you to work on that live project. And what is the essence of live project, guys? We will not give you the project manual. This is important. We will not give you the project manual. We will give you the problem statement. And then we will say, work on this problem statement with the supervisor and try to solve this problem statement so that you can say that, yes, I have done this project with my supervisor. And this is the difference, guys. This is the difference between the normal 25 projects you will be working on and the 4 to 8 live projects you will be working on. And this distinction, this distinguishable parameter is something we all must ensure. Satyam, I'm coming to this workshop only in the next question. Okay, exactly. See, Satyam, I think you already have my presentation. So Bob is asking now, everything makes sense. Okay, everything is cool, super good. That's good for me also. But what about the hands-on experience? Do we have any practical exposure? First of all, guys, this is not easy. Providing practical exposure, providing practical exposure in Eevee is not an easy thing, right? Trust me, the most difficult is the investment. How do you find the equipment? How do you find the setup for that Eevee training? The practical training I'm talking about. And how do you find an instructor who is good with Eevee training? I mean, Eevee is such a recent aspect in this Indian job market, or any, in fact, for European and African job market also, for the whole world, it's a very recent development. So how do you really find the trainers? So the Eevee practical training is something which really took the most of our hard work, but luckily and fortunately, we are able to develop something in that terms as well. So what I'm going to show you now, guys, is basically the curriculum for the Eevee practical training. So everything is super defined, guys. As you can see, we have done a lot of homework from our side. Let me share this one also. I forgot. Yeah, present. Yes. So this is, guys, basically the curriculum of the practical training, right? And this is some example of the ongoing hands-on experience. So whatever you have learned, whatever you have done in the Eevee technical training, that all you will be doing on practical basis as well. Okay. For example, you will start with the IC engine, you will start with the automotive sector, you will start with with the battery side, how the lithium ion work and all that stuff. You will start with the battery management stuff, and then you will be going to the charging station converters and stuff like this. And finally, you will be doing the retrofitting. And retrofitting means that you take a non-EV vehicle, you dismantle it completely, use the EV components, and prepare an EV vehicle out of that. So now I give you a non-EV vehicle, let's say a two-wheeler or a four-wheeler, and then I say, okay, so and so, make an EV car for me from this IC engine model. And that is what we will be doing in the practical. The practical, as you can see, is approximately 2 months long, guys, for week 8 and week 9, right? But to ensure that the working professionals can also attend, the practical sessions will only be conducted on the weekends. So every weekend for 2 months, 3 months, these practical sessions will go on. Currently, we have collaboration at the Delhi center and for the Pune center also. If you're not able to attend those 2 months, you will have the live access of these workshops as well, right? Just like you had this live access of this workshop, where is that curriculum? Yes, this thing. So this workshop is basically was conducted at that Delhi center, guys. Okay, this workshop was conducted Delhi center, but everyone throughout the country in the Nanodegree program had a look at this 5 hour workshop. And if you want to come to the Pune or Delhi session, you can just tell me that Ayush, I'm coming to Delhi and Pune now for 1 week, for 3 days. Please provide me some practical trainings, and then we can arrange accordingly. But yes, we will be covering a lot part of the EV training in this practical training as a part of this practical training, as you can see. And I will share this curriculum with you also, guys. I don't want to go very, very deep now because otherwise it will take much more time. But yes, practical aspect is something very important. And lastly, before Satyam, you ask this question, lastly, I covered the part of the placements. What about the placement? What about my CV? What about the cover letter? And what is the process of placement at DIYguru? So guys, first of all, whenever you start your fundamental classes for the first 6 weeks, yes, Abhay, I'll come to that question after, as I just finished my last slide. Okay. So as I was saying that when you start your nano degree for the first 6 weeks or 8 weeks, you will be focusing on technical training only, guys. You will be only doing the static projects of these 24, 25. You'll be starting with first, second, third project. And then after the second month, you will be starting with your live projects. Then after that fourth month, you will be starting with your practical trainings. And after your third month itself, you will be starting with the placements. I'm sure, guys, all of us have seen the Three Idiots movie, and trust me, we try to follow this. We try to work towards the excellence and not success. This is very important to ensure that our students must not wait for 6 months to start applying for the placements. Right up after the end or before the end of third month, they should be having enough knowledge to start applying for the jobs and placements so that you have 3 months in hand during the course itself to get the feedback from recruiters. And when you get recruiter feedback, you know how you can align the Eevee training in a way that before the nano degree program ends, you're having the job, right? Otherwise, completing a nano degree program and then applying for a job, I do not like this scenario. You should be confident enough that, see, I've completed my battery pack course, I've completed my BMS course, now I'm ready for the jobs who want battery related responsibilities. So why to wait for the whole nano degree program to end? You need not to wait. You can start applying right from the third month itself. And this will give you a very good confidence and a very good feedback during your nano degree only, so that you're not wasting even a single minute, even a single day. And all your CVs and cover letters will, you will be doing the CV and cover letter, but the technical team will be getting in touch with you to basically work on the CVs and stuff like this. And regularly you will be getting that, okay, this job is good, this apply here, apply here, apply here. I think every month you get about 50, 60 jobs to apply. And as you apply there, you keep our recruiter head, Mr. Ame, Dr. Ame, in the CC so that the recruiter knows that you're from DIYguru, and then the recruiter contacts us, and this is how the process goes, right? So the very short answer to this would be, do not wait for the whole 6 months to end the nano degree program. Rather, wait for only several few months. And when you think you're good enough, start applying for jobs during your nano degree program only. Okay. And then in the end, yes, we have tests, we have assignments. The tests are regulated and validated by ASGC, because when you will complete your nano degree program, ASGC will be taking your exam, guys. And in between, there will be, for every course, for every 12, 13 course, there will be a proper examination, a mock test, which you can repeat every month so that you know what your progress is. And that is how the whole nano degree program is framed. And this is the answer to the very first question: what is Eevee nano degree program from DIYguru? Right? And yes, everything went well. Okay, I didn't write the spelling right for Bob, but that's fine. But for Bob and Annie, everything went well. And they're quite happy. I hope you're happy with the DIYguru also now. And we are done, guys. And thank you. Thank you for this patience. Thank you for listening to my presentation. Now I'll go through the chat and I will try to answer your question. But guys, give me just 1 minute. Let me ensure my students that the class for data analytics is postponed for half an hour. Okay, Avinash, you just give me 2 minutes. Okay, thank you guys. I'll stop my screen share and I will provide all the documents to you. I'm sure we have your email IDs. Let's go to your questions one by one. I think Satyam, most of the questions are covered now because they were exactly on the question in the presentation. So I think you are the Bob here. Okay, so Abhay, I think your question is also answered, right? That if you're working in shifts and you're not able to attend the live, you attend the classroom recordings the same day and then the next day, and then you take the live doubts classes, the sessions with the instructor whenever you are available. And then Satya, next question is also answered, that what type of projects you'll be working on, software based and other type. There will be a combination of both software based as well as the practical, because when you work on the practical hands-on, you will be working on the hands-on experience. The Delhi batch, which has started about 2 or 3 months ago, have completed almost 35 to 40 classes on practical. And 35 to 40 classes is too much, guys. I mean, this is a lot. So yes, you will be working on both type of levels, primarily mainly on technical, Satyam, because this is how the Indian job market is. You will not be manufacturing the EV model directly right now. You have to start with something more R&D specific and technical software specific. So mainly on the software end, but then when you have 2 month training on hands-on, you will be working on this hands-on aspect as well. Okay, all the workshops are offline, Satyam, but if you're not able to attend, you have live access also. And whenever you are available, you can come and attend those sessions. Even if you're available after 10 months and you say, Aish, right now I'm busy with my job or I'm busy with my exams, I'm available next year, then come next year. It doesn't matter. No, nobody will be saying that you have enrolled in the last year, you don't have access now. Okay. Okay, so the total fees, I think I'll leave it to Avinash sir after this question, and then he can answer about total fees. And if someone is already working in maintenance, and then what will be it when and what will it count after doing EV course? Abhay, can you elaborate this question, please? I'm not able to understand your question completely, I guess. Abhay, I think if you are
सर हेलो
yes, Abhay.
सर जैसे मेरा क्वेश्चन ये था कि जैसे मान लीजिए मैं अभी मेंटेनेंस डिपार्टमेंट जॉब कर रहा हूँ
ठीक है।
और उसके बाद जैसे मैं ये कोर्स करने के बाद तो ये कोर्स क्या मेरे रिज्यूम में काउंट होगा ये क्या मैं ऐड कर सकता हूँ इसमें अपने रिज्यूम में
आई मीन यही मेन एम है, यही तो गोल है कि तुम अपने सीवी में ये सब ऐड कर पाओ, राइट? यही मेन एम है
हम्म
कि तुम अपने सीवी में ऐड कर पाओ एंड तुम रिक्रूटर को दिखा पाओ कि सी मेरे को सिर्फ मेंटेनेंस लेवल की नॉलेज नहीं है, आई एम गुड विद द टेक्निकल्स आल्सो, राइट? एंड सिंस
हम्म
यू आर ऑलरेडी गुड विद द मेंटेनेंस, अबे इट इज बेस्ट फॉर यू दैट यू फोकस ऑन द R&D और ऑन द टेक्निकल कोर्सेज। you're already good with the hands on, so
हम्म
recruiter को उसमें कोई इशू नहीं होगा। रिक्रूटर को छोड़ो, आप नहीं सोचो कि हमें उसमें कोई इशू नहीं है, because I'm already good with maintenance. What I should be good at?
यस सर
Now I should be good at the technical side. How to develop the motor, design the motor, work with the battery, with the framework, designing simulations. That is something you should focus on, right? Because you already, and this is how exactly you design the learning path throughout this nano degree program.
यस सर
And that is why I say start applying for job right after the 3rd month. Don't wait for the whole 6 months to end, so that you have good feedback from the recruiters and you know that yes, इस तरीके से मुझे आगे align करनी चीजें। और अगर इस process में 6 महीने के 1 साल भी लग रहे हैं, I don't care, trust me. The most important thing is कि एक इकोसिस्टम जनरेट हो। देयर शुड बी एन इकोसिस्टम जहां पे ईवी ग्रो कर रहा है तो हम सब ग्रो करें। अगर आगे चलकर ईवी में चार्जिंग स्टेशन पे फिर से जरूरत पड़ी, we will develop course on charging station and you get the access of charging station for free. Nobody will say that okay, you have paid for 10 courses, 20 courses, we cannot give you this one. The course on MATLAB simulation, it was launched 2 months ago, but everyone is using this course. For those students also who have enrolled 2 years back and they're already working, those are also doing this course now. So yes, this is the main intention, the continuous engagement, right?
ओके थैंक यू सर
Thank you, Abhay. Abhay, ये बहुत ही अच्छा question है. If you're doing this course, can I open? And this is the exact example I gave, right? If you listen to my talk properly, that you are an EV expert, let's say, but you don't know how to open a business, then what is the sense of being an EV expert? Then absolutely, when you are doing the course, you would be able to get the level of maturity. And trust me, Abhay, there's one person I will not use the name, but you will get to meet him during the program. He's about 65-year-old. He's a retired guy, and now he wants to open his own EV workshop, and he's doing the Nanodegree program. There are many such candidates who are quite mature in age and now they want to do something their own. And Abhay, don't take this Nanodegree program as just a technical program. I hate being called a technical guy. Nothing is just technical in this world. Nothing. People just try to work engineering, and they end up with a 9 to 5 job, and their whole just ruin their life. Nothing is purely technical. Try to gain the R&D aspect of EV. And when you say you want to own your own workshop, then you have to see how you connect with DIYguru, how you connect with me, Avinash sir, and our industrial partners. We have collaboration with many Yulu, EVs, Blueboat, and more than 10 industries who are working on this EV workshop stuff. And then you gain the understanding that how I use this course, how I use this connection and engagement with DIYguru to open something relevant to me and my workshop, right? So this
सर
is
जैसे
बोलो भाई।
जैसे सर मान लीजिए अगर मैं अपने इसको विलेज साइड में खोलना चाहूँ तो डीआईवी गुरु से क्या क्या चीजें प्रोवाइड हो सकती हैं
ये
जैसे
बहुत ही
अगर
अच्छा
गांव की
क्वेश्चन है
साइड में
अगर
एरिया में
ये हमारे सीईओ बहुत अच्छा आंसर दे पाएंगे। एक बार मैं सत्यम का लास्ट क्वेश्चन देख लूं, देन अविनाश सर को मैं क्वेश्चन फॉरवर्ड करता हूं, ठीक?
ओके ठीक है
Well, yeah, he's the face of the company, so he knows the best about the business aspect. Okay, and then Satyam is asking, I had to, okay, I forgot to add this question. Trust me, I wanted to add this question about the year gap. Uh, so Satyam, what we do is when you have an year gap in between now, then we try to provide you some level of industrial internship, maybe with DIYguru only, so that you can cover this year gap and this learning process of nano degree and can show the industries during placement that see to cover my year gap, I have first done this internship during my nano degree learning and now I am coming for the jobs, right? So in this way, this is a very good way by which we can try our best to cover the year gap, and then we can say that okay, this is how you can cover into placement, and how you're doing business will be counted. This is something which is completely dependent on what business you are doing, and if we can align this business as a managerial job for the placement in your CV, and if we can align something in a way that you say that this business is also an experience for this job, and if that is possible, then absolutely it will be counted as a placement, right? When we go abroad for higher studies, we show trainings and internship as experience. I mean, it's not real experience, but still we show, right? In the same way, you can really show your business as the experience, but then it depends. You have, then we will be discussing with our technical team how you can do this in the next 6, 7, 8, 10, 12 months, whatever it is. Okay, trust me, I do want to drink something now. But okay, so Avinash sir, I want to forward two questions from the chat. One is the fee part, and other that if one wants to open a business aspect in the rural areas, then what DIY Guru can support.
Right, my voice is audible.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
So Jared had joined from Dubai, right? Jared, uh, I guess I use Jared requirement was basically he want to get that practical exposure in the Eevee domain, and that to be broadcasted live when we are conducting the workshop. So Jared, we will do that whenever we are conducting our live, practical workshops. We will record that, or we'll do a live telecast, and you will get access to that, right? So moving to uh, yeah, see this chance of opening a workshop or a shop in village area. Basically, I myself belong from a rural area, and I have experimented in last 6 months about the opportunities that is there in the rural areas uh, of opening workshops or shop in the EV domain. Uh, some of our dealers have started opening that up, and they are getting very good reception from the whole ecosystem wherever they have opened this. So this is the right time. Basically, this will be sort of first mover advantage, because now more and more number of electric vehicles will start penetrating. Although in rural areas, mostly you will see two-wheelers and three-wheelers coming, and they do lack a lot of technical skills in terms of repair, maintenance, or troubleshooting. Whatever new dealerships are opening in rural areas, if you go to them, talk to them, they will tell you that they are in need of a good technical engineer who can take care of the servicing part. And any electric vehicle, either it's a two-wheeler or three-wheeler, who is providing better service, are the one who are going to sustain in the longer run. So every manufacturer will ultimately try to increase the service, and I think this would be the best time to invest, Abhay. And we can connect offline if you need further assistance on how you can launch a workshop in your rural areas, and I will be very happy to assist you in that.
सर एक शॉप खोलने में क्या कॉस्ट आ सकती है, और जो इसकी सामान की जो कॉस्ट मेंटेनेंस होती है वो मेंटेनेंस कैसे की जाती है फिर उसकी?
ऑन एन एवरेज लेके चलो 4 to 5 लाख लगेगा इनिशियली, अगर तुम टू व्हीलर थ्री व्हीलर का देखते हो, और उसके बाद डिपेंड ऑन कि कौन कौन से और टूल्स और इक्विपमेंट आप लेके आते हो। अगर आप टेस्टिंग वगैरह भी वहीं पे करना चाहते हो तो टेस्टिंग के इक्विपमेंट्स थोड़े कॉस्टली आते हैं। अदरवाइज ऑन अ मेंटेनेंस साइड मोस्ट प्रोबेबली यू विल नीड 2 to 3 टेक्नीशियंस। ITI डिप्लोमा किए हुए हमारे यहाँ एक प्रोग्राम चलता है ITI डिप्लोमा का अलग से, टेक्निकल सर्टिफाइड इलेक्ट्रिक व्हीकल टेक्नीशियन ट्रेनिंग प्रोग्राम। उसके जो बच्चे हैं उसके लिए काफ़ी अच्छे होते हैं, उनको आप रिक्रूट करके और वहाँ पे रोप इन कर सकते हो। लेकिन
सर
वो
जैसे रूरल साइड,
हाँ बताओ।
सर जैसे रूरल साइड में अगर हम अपनी शॉप्स खोलते हैं
हम्म।
तो जो चीजें होती हैं मेंटेनेंस रिलेटेड, तो वो चीज अवेलेबल कहाँ से हो पाएंगे हमें उसके लिए?
वो हम लोग करते हैं
जैसे
ना,
बाकी, अच्छा।
हमारे पास वेंडर्स हैं जो ये सारी चीज़ें सप्लाई करते हैं। और हमारे पास, देखिए हम लोग पिछले 6-7 सालों से हैं इस इंडस्ट्री में, तो हमें पता है कि कौन सा टूल्स, कौन सा जो है इक्विपमेंट बेस्ट होगा उस चीज़ को करने के लिए।
मतलब वेंडर्स नियरली मतलब विजुअल अवेलेबल हो जाते हैं, मतलब नियर बाय
हो
हमारे
जाए,
रूरल एरिया
हाँ
में?
हाँ हाँ हाँ, हो जाए, हो जाए।
ठीक है, थैंक यू।
Okay. So I think altogether this was a good session. As far as this Sylvester Francis total fees of the course, see the total fees of the course is 1 lakh rupees. But for those who are selected in this program, because you guys have been going through interview rounds, you have given DT test. So based on that, we give the pricing at 50% off. So it will come around 50,000. Now those who want to uh, pay in one go, for them it will be 40,000. If you are paying in installments, it will be 50,000. So that's how the program fees is. And moving forward, what I will do is you guys will be added in a WhatsApp group where we will be sending you a fundamental electric vehicle guidebook that is free of cost. Whether you are joining, not joining, that is not an issue. But at least you have spent so much time with us, so we'll be sending you that guidebook, which will act as a guideline. I mean, be it electric vehicle retrofitting or starting with an introduction to electric vehicle, everything is given in that electric vehicle guidebook, and that is DIYguru patented property. So you
After
guys
we pay, sorry.
yeah. So you go through that and then create an account on DIYguru, and we will add some courses as well in your account. Right. So we want this ecosystem to grow. My vision, personal vision, is that by 2025, we would be able to upskill at least 1 million people in the electric vehicle industry. And from last 6-7 months, there has been so much request from company side as well for skilled engineers. So we are actually fulfilling that. And Garrett has joined from Dubai. I mean, we will be going ahead. Currently, we are in Malaysia, we are in Bangladesh. Next, we are planning to open one center in Dubai as well, most probably with Garrett. And then we'll look forward on how we can actually make it more on a global upskilling platform, not just constricted to India. So I wish all the best, and yeah, that's all from my side. Any questions you guys have, you can ask, or we can wind up, Ayush.
Yes,
Yeah,
just
this
wanted to add one point that the group we are going to make, guys, is something very important, right? Because as Avinash ji mentioned, ecosystem is very necessary. So try to engage yourself in the group. This group is not asking for any money or something. Okay, this is not some कोई दुकान वाली चीज नहीं चल रही यहाँ पे. The importance of the group is that you understand what are the requirements to be into an EV sector, so that by the end of the day, doesn't matter if you have a DIY or not, by the end of the day, you have something useful from DIYguru. And ये चीज बहुत जरूरी है. This moral responsibility when you are into the education business is very important, जो unfortunately हमारे इंडिया में कहीं ज्यादा लॉस हो चुकी है. People are asking for lakhs of rupees for the same course जो एक गवर्नमेंट कॉलेज में 15,000 से लेके 60,000 तक पढ़ा दिया जाता है 6 महीने में, right? So this is something which is very bad, and that is why we want that all the candidates who have been in touch with DIYguru should get something useful by the end of the day. And that is why this DIY guidebook is very crucial. About 60-70 pages long this book is, and we will provide you some standard courses for you to have a look. And in the lastly, I think there will be some live classes also you can attend, and then I will always be there to suggest you even after your decision for this joining or not. Yes, Avinash, that's all from my side. So I think now we can wind up. And thank you everyone for joining. And yes, that's all from my side, Avinash.
50,000, I didn't understand. 50,000